In 2009 at Confetti Studios in Nottingham, the first-year music technology students embarked on an ambitious project, remaking the Joshua Tree album with Zu2, the UK's premier U2 tribute band.
Last year the Zu2 played a gig for the Julie Cotton Foundation. It was like a charity gig where they played, and Mike, one of the other tutors at Confetti, was involved with that. So he got some of the bands to come in and do some recordings in the studio, and Zu2 were one of those bands.
Andy had a crazy idea to base the theme of the sessions would be Classic Album, and he wanted to do the Joshua Tree, and he asked us if we could play the Joshua Tree, the whole of it.
Well, we decided this year that we would give them a call again, see if we could book them in. It so happened that they were on a break from gigging and they were available for the full 3 weeks of the tracking. So we kind of said to each other, well, me and the band, we kind of said, well, why don't we record an album?
And I, rightly or wrongly, said, yeah, we could relearn the stuff we needed to, but we'd do a lot of Joshua Tree in the set, we should be okay. So we've been sort of re-recording and recreating the Joshua Tree recordings.
It's U2's seminal album, in our opinion anyway. It's U2's seminal album. So there are that many different production techniques on it that it's kind of a really difficult one to recreate. We thought it'd be a real challenge, musically for the band, but also technically from a production point of view as well. We thought it'd be really challenging.
The back skin was actually knocking the microphone, so I had to go back into the room and actually pull it out a little bit more, make sure it's away. And there were certain other things when you started getting going, like cymbals might have been getting a bit too close to these mics, so I had to go in there and just readjust.
I think they got a lot out of it in terms of time management and being able to think about how a recording session is run from start to finish, and actually seeing that process through as well. All of the interesting little things, the details of a recording session, managing the band, managing different personalities within the production team, different personalities within the band, getting the best performance out of musicians. I think all of those little intricacies that you sometimes forget about because you focus too heavily on what that fader does or what that button does. I think the students got a lot out of it in that respect.
Like the guitarist didn't know his parts very well.
They just play it live, don't they? And just
they've
got their own spin. Got their own sort of version.
their own way of doing it. So we had to discuss.
We've been in studios before in original bands when we were younger, but it's been nice to come in just to pick things to pieces really, and get into the environment again, you know, because we don't do it very often.
I think the pressure was on both the students and the band as well, because the students can only work with what they've got musically, but the band are that good that the students had some really good material to work with. But yeah, it did put the pressure on, but in a nice way.
I was mostly impressed with my overheads and the way that they were set up, because what I'd done last time I did them, they were up too high and they were picking up everything, and it just wasn't sounding good, and when it comes to the mix last time it didn't work out, but this time I brought them down a bit closer, so they were sort of more localised and sort of picking up this side, and that's the main thing as well, is because it brought out a better stereo spread in the drums as well, which is really nice.
Because they were closer.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly.
I've got like a gorilla in my mind and a little bit more of a Genesis feel, you know what I mean? Like gated reverb.
Sleep comes like a drug in God's country. Set eyes, crooked crosses in God's country. Enjoyable. I mean, it's a bit of a task for students and for the band really. To 12 days really recording an entire multi-million-pound selling album. Yeah, it's been a real ask.
I've yet to sit down properly with them and have a real proper chat about the process as a whole. But I spoke to them every day that they were in about how things were going and how they were enjoying it, and they seem to enjoy it a lot. And in terms of getting something out of it, because they're a live band, so they just gig live all of the time. They've got very little in terms of studio experience, being in the recording studio, and it's a really different environment to being in a live situation. So I think from that point of view, they would have got lots out of it.
I think we'd do it again, but on a different album. Like, well,
it would have to be a different album. We'll be talking about Acton Baby next year, but we're not sure whether from a band point of view maybe we should look at an album that's a bit easier to do.
Yeah.
But then again, it won't be a classic. So
Yeah.
I think we would do. We probably will end up doing it again. It's a good relationship we've got with them here.
Officially, yeah, we can't sell it, but what we're going to do hopefully is we're going to package it, give it to the band, give all the recordings to the band, and then essentially it's down to them. But they've expressed an interest in maybe making it available to the people on their mailing list on the website, using it as promotional tool for their gigs. I mean, they play all over the world. They play like Dubai, as well as all around the UK as well. So they're hopefully going to use it as marketing material, as promotional material.
Apart from the actual physical side of the recording, sometimes some of the students walk out and, oh, didn't that sound great? And you hope that they take that away with them and think, you know, we were able to really do something, create something there. And that's what fundamentally music's all about, creating something. But the creation process can be hard or it can be easy. But as long as at the end of it, you feel like you've achieved something. And I think every group has, as we've listened to the sort of final mixes of the live recordings, the fundamentals of the actual song are there, and you've got to take your hat off to them to a certain degree because they've recreated something that could have, you know, took you maybe 8 months to do.
We're thinking already ahead to next year and about trying to get the band in and doing some more. We need to sit down and evaluate it properly, but it looks like we'd be quite interested in doing this again, definitely.
Without you.